welcome back. We're back from the Nationals. I'm really on day number 22 day 23 instead of day 22, because yesterday I spent the day working on the cowl and getting the fit perfect, and it took all day, all of 8 hours, to get the cowl fit that I wanted. Building model airplanes can be trying at some times. Today I glued the top block on and the bottom. I got that done with the landing gear wire, or the tail wheel wire mounted. So basically in 23 days we have a complete airplane here, and it has the silk span applied and the carbon applied, so that's finished. The tail is completely covered with 3 coats of dope on it, and the cockpit has been painted, and I went ahead and sanded all the lines in. And tonight I'm not going to bore you with the sanding of this. I'm going to clean the mess up, and tomorrow when I come back, we're going to get down to some finishing. I will probably tomorrow, before I start finishing, bend up some landing gear wire. That's the only thing I've left to do to get it on its wheels. And I'm going to be doing some of Tom Warden's signature wheel pants. They remind me of flying bananas. But that was something that he liked. The track on this is rather wide. That was another signature of Tom's. They have a wide stance on the track and sit very low. I think it was Tom Lay who flew the original Minado and said it flew like a lowered 49 Mercury. And that was the intent of that particular airplane, to be real low in the ground. We used to fly on grass at Whittier Narrows, and he ran a 3-blade propeller. It was probably a 9.6 or somewhere in there. The original had a McCoy 40 in it. Actually, I'm a gas 40. And he used to run it so slobbering rich it sounded like it was 8 cycling. And it was interesting. It's really a neat airplane. But the Continental is the one that drove me to stud the most. Minado was nice. And this is not a beam wing, as I stated before. It's a geodesic wing. As a matter of fact, it's the same wing that's in the Continental XL. It's the correct shape, but because this airplane is so much bigger, I didn't feel that the beam wing would have been strong enough. So, do a little walk around on the thing. It's really straight, and I can't say extremely light because it's a big airplane, but it is light. It will probably be high 50s, low 60s, if I can keep off the paint gun. And I was going to use a P-51 canopy, but I have a SIG canopy that I'll be using to more match the original with the canopy overhead, and I'll go ahead and make up some of those air tanks to sit behind the pilot as well that were in the original. Very similar to what's in my Continental XL. There was never a magazine article on this airplane, so I probably will not be making up the little magazine that sits on the dashboard of the XL as a detail, but we'll think of something. I'm going to do a throttle quadrant and a pilot's chair. And of course it already has the gauges in it, and the pilot has a headset and a microphone. So it'll be fairly detailed. And it just, I don't know, it gives me a lot of pleasure to build these. Next year, I believe, at the Nationals, I worked a deal with John Brodak. He's sending me his shoestring. I'm going to be building that for scale. Joey Matheson said that he was going to send me a diner jet from Hobby King. I'm going to build a sport jet. And we'll see how we do in some other events, because Stunt is a hard way to go. There's just so many good flyers. The competition is so steep. And not having time to practice like some people, it just seems like it's going to be near impossible for me to achieve what I wanted to achieve. I would have liked to make top 20 at least once, but it don't look like that's going to happen. Every year there's always an issue. So this is where I'm at. I'm going to clean the mess up, and I'll be back in a short. Hey, thanks welcome for watching. Back. I wanted to touch on this before I go any further. You know, I make mistakes. People make mistakes. I saw on the forum that people were having some paint issues, and I had kind of expounded on what I thought the problem was, and that was the lack of thinner. Well, I'm guilty of it too. I guess in my haste to get this project underway, when I started covering it, I didn't coat these with enough dope, the elevators. And yesterday, when I was applying the dope on the silk span, I noticed, hey, the silk span's coming off, raising up and causing bubbles. Yeah, I could have probably knocked it down and doped over it and muddled through it. But in the end, if I have an issue, or if I have a paint, trim part that I want to put on this, when I put the tape on it, it'll lift the paint right off along with the covering. So today I decided I would strip those down. I put thinner on them, and I pulled all the silk span off that was loose, and I put 3 coats of dope on it, and I re-silk spanned it. Of course, then again today I've been doing the details of the fillets in here, and I coated the fuselage with 3 coats of dope and sanded it with 320, and we're going to get ready to start putting the silk span on the fuselage. But I just kind of wanted to touch on when you make a mistake, like I did. It's better to catch it now in the early stages where, yeah, it's a pain in the rear to go ahead and strip that. But stripping it now will sure save aggravation in the long run, guaranteed. At least I don't have any other spots that I see that issue going on. And that's from not using enough thinner and not putting enough dope on the substructure. You got to have dope for it to adhere to. And those first coats of dope have to be thin so they get down into the wood. Otherwise, it's just laying on top, and if you put thin dope on it, it'll just pull it right off. So, I'm going to get this coat of dope on here. It's rather warm up here, so the dope is drying very fast. Remember what I said on the forum, dope is not paint, it's glue. I'm using 3608S thinner because I'm out of the regular Randolph thinner. I'm probably going to have to order some more, and I'd like to talk about that too. The 3608S works, but if you look at the clear, it's not crystal clear with the 3608. I don't know if that's because it's holding moisture or what, but even on a hot day where I know there's no moisture, the clear kind of gets cloudy. It doesn't stay crystal clear like it does with the regular Randolph thinner. So before I spray any final clear on this, I'll get the Randolph thinner to spray on that. I know that the 3608 does work. I've used it a bunch of times. It's a lot cheaper. I can go right to the local auto parts store and buy it. I don't have to drive the 80 miles to Wix to get it or wait for them to send it to me. I can just go pick it up and have it in hand in a matter of 20 minutes. And it is cheaper, so it's a good alternative for doing substrate. But I wouldn't recommend it for final clear coats. Airplane's coming out real nice. I really like it. I spent the good part of yesterday getting cowl fits perfect. And boy, let me tell you, they were a challenge to get those to fit absolutely perfect. But because this is a tribute airplane to Tom, and that's how he would do it, I'm going to be doing some of these little things on this where normally it wouldn't much matter if it was absolutely perfect. I'm hoping next year that this airplane does well, and the only thing I'm concerned about is running a Super Tiger 60 instead of a piped motor, but there were some 60 airplanes at the Nats this year, and they did fairly well. And we were talking about on the forum the power, the drivetrain. IC this year took first, second, and fourth, and I really don't think it was a contest over what power you had. It was, they all seemed to work real good. So we're going to try the Super Tiger 60. And there are some airplanes that fly at the Worlds that do well with 60s. So I don't think it's an issue. I think it's more psychological than anything else. But, as I said, when I get some more to report, I'll come back. It's rather boring to watch me sand or dope or listen to my speeches. So we'll see you in a short. Stay tuned for more of the Stunt Hangar build.